Very good.
Yes.
Trills, you must.
Are those trills approached from the...
Well, no, always from the note that they depart. That's a very good question. I was asked the other time. I think who asked me? I forget. Whether the trill starts from up or down. No, it always starts from the note that is written. For instance, here we have a trill on a sol. Mr. Cohn, please. How? Listen. In other words, it is the note that counts. Far che cangia affetti. Would you play that, please? No. Excuse me. Where there is always a trill on top of one note. It is always the note that has the value. In other words, the note that has the value. It starts from the bottom. It's as though the trill wasn't there, eh? As though it was without the trill. Unless the composer wants it to start from the top, then he would put a sort of this kind, which means this is a appoggiato.
I see. Yes.
Appoggiatura. But this is a trill that starts on the note. Not. Then he would write acciaccatura. If he wanted he would write it.
Yes.
But here it's on the sol. It must start on the sol. Whatever note it is written, it's as though there was no trill. But in other words, I can't explain it. The same note where the trill is.
So the first thing that comes out is the sol.
It's a sol. Again here, he writes a sol. See? It's always the note where the trill is on. You see?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you understand. You understand? Where the trill is, it's the note. And it is usually written when it's wanted one whole tone. This is a whole tone, in fact, eh? Because if he wanted it a half a tone, he would put a la bemol near it.
Right.
You see? I don't know if any one of you have this come scoglio, or generally. If the composer wants a half a tone trill, if it happens to fall within the music, then it becomes a half a tone. But if it is not written, for instance, this here happens to be one tone. If he wanted it a half a tone, he would have written a bemol. What do you call it in English? A flat or a sharp. It depends.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always this note that's important, where the trill is on.
I see.
Eh?
Yes.
That's the importance. So, in other words, I would advise you all, though, I'm sure you're accomplished musicians, but in case you want to know exactly what the ornaments are, there is a book. I have it at home in Paris. I don't have it here, but there must be in any store, maybe up here in the library also, that have all the ornamentations, and there you can really know exactly what you're doing, what the composer has written.
Yes.
It's very important that each and one of you have this book of ornamentations. It's like studying music. The musicians, the instrumentalists have it all. In fact, they've studied it. I wouldn't know. You'll have to go to the store and ask. I think it's a library that probably would have it on ornamentation. You ask.
All right.
Because you see, if we don't have a violinist here or any instrumentalist. Whatever instrumentalist, I'm sure he has gone through his technique with the ornamentations, because it's absolutely a necessity.
Yes.
The ornamentation is not just, it's handled with care according to what the composer has put. But as I see that you don't know exactly, there are very many. You must buy this book.
Yes.
On ornamentation, and they have the exact. It's very amusing, in fact.
Do they change throughout the periods? I mean, is a trill different in a...
Oh, no. No, the trill is always one. It depends on the emotion.
Yes.
There is a trill that has emotion, usually, or a trill of joy, but the trill is always a trill. There is a trill that could be quicker because it is more emotion. That also I can indulge. Unfortunately, I think our time is gone. Or do we still have time?
2 minutes.
Yeah. We are 2 minutes on. For instance, the trill of Trovatore, or is there a trill in Mefistofele? I'm sure.
In the aria that you just
Yes. I wonder. There also is a trill. The trill generally is always a state of emotion. Trovatore d'amor solare, I don't know, solari rosi. It's fear. In Pirata, another opera that I have done, it's always Anna Bolena is also another that I showed you weren't here. It's always emotion, but the trill is always a trill.
Yes.
Whether it's a half a tone, whether it's a tone. According to the emotion that comes with it, you can make it more rapid, according to the time also that you have, but a trill generally is emotion. It's a signal of emotion. In other words, a composer to express this emotion has put a trill, but it's not just a trill for the sake of ornamentation.
Yes.
There is a practical reason, a reason of expression in trill. In fact, here, this is accentuating what he's saying. In fact, you know the story of this aria.
Yes.
It's you know the story of the aria. Mm-hmm. So all this is exaggerated. So this is to prove her point. You must be decisive. Others are softer because it's an emotion, a different kind of emotion. So the trill varies only according to the words that come with it.
Well, is that where he puts then, for instance, a staccato there? And
Yeah,
there?
but there are many
further?
staccatos that are there, but you don't really have to pay too much attention to that. Because also in Traviata there are a lot of staccati. But frequently, in Lady Macbeth, frequently they have staccati. You ignore that for many a time to be able to manage the expression. Because, I mean, in a very dramatic phrase, to have all of a sudden a scale of staccati does not work. It might have worked to make it clearer, probably. I don't know. If I had the composer alive, I'd really ask. But I am one that really tries always to do what the composer wants. But sometimes, if it takes away the expression, I think that one should ignore it. It's the way you do it that is valid, so long as you can get away with the proper expression. But the trill is always an emotion. You must always consider it. That's why it's so important. That's why they've written it frequently in Mozart, in Mefistofele, in every opera you find. The older, in fact, Donizetti, full. Verdi, full. Early Verdi, full of trills. So you must, all of you, get this book of ornamentation, in case you don't have it, or in case you don't know them, because it's absolutely necessary for, especially Bellini, Donizetti, every composer. It makes, in other words, it's one part of your vocal equipment. It's the technique that one needs. That every instrumentalist in this school could never do without. Otherwise, he wouldn't even be, his professor wouldn't even let him go through the lesson. He'd have to have it. So we are an instrument. Only we use the throat. So we have no excuse not to have the proper technique.
It's 7:30, Ms. Callas.
It's all right, but I want to say a living example is Miss Benson, who has dominated her trill, if I remember correctly. So that I'm really proud of. And that's what we all should do. Not for me, but for the music. All right? So then.